Welcome back to the Gen X Remix, Midlife Laughs and Next Acts, where we talk about all things midlife and midlife pivots. I'm your host, Tabatha Jones, the Corporate Escape Sherpa. And before we dive into this week's episode, I would love for you to visit my new website at corporateescapesherpa.com and grab your free Corporate Escape Guide. It's filled with strategies and small actions you can take starting right now so you can plan your escape before leaving the security of your day job. Now on to the episode. Friends, have you ever felt like the clutter in your space is cluttering up your mind? Do you ever look around and think, oh my gosh, where do I even start with this mess? If so, you're not alone, and today's guest knows exactly how to help you. Today, we're diving into the fascinating world of organization and mindset transformation with the incredible Gayle Gruenberg. She's the Chief Executive Organizer of Let's Get Organized. Gayle isn't just about tidying up. She's a certified professional organizer in the chronic disorganization space, and she's a virtual certified organizing professional who helps people reclaim their space and their lives. From CPA to clutter conqueror, her story is all about reinvention and impact. So how does disorganization affect our confidence, our careers, and even our mental and physical health? And more importantly, how do we fix it? Let's get into it. All right, Gayle, welcome to the Gen X Remix. How are you doing today?
Thank you so much for having me. I am so happy to be here. I'm doing well today.
Oh, good to hear it. And for those listening on the audio podcast, what you are missing out on is Gayle looking amazingly fabulous. She has the coolest glasses on right now that I wish I could wear. They look amazing.
Thank you.
My gosh.
My daughter picked these out and said, Mom, you must buy these. So I did.
I may need to borrow her the next time I go get glasses.
Oh, she's got great taste.
Yeah, she does. All right. Well, Gayle, we're going to start with my favorite kickoff question, and that is, what is your remix story?
My remix story probably has multiple phases to it and then maybe a few prongs. Probably the most salient about career is that I started out as a CPA and really did not enjoy it. It was not a good fit for my personality and my lifestyle. So luckily, I had worked with a colleague who said, Gayle, I know a professional organizer from one of my networking groups, and you'd be really good at that. I'm like, oh, lightning strike. Yes, that's what I want to do with my life when I want to grow up, right? So I literally started up very, very quickly and reached out to my synagogue, did a pro bono with the administrator, and somehow, some way, I managed to start up a business.
That is amazing. I don't know about the jump from CPA to organizer. That just is such a great swing. And I don't know when we met if I remember you telling me that you were a CPA before. I don't see that when I talk to you. Not that CPAs are anything other than regular people, but the mathiness.
Yeah. And I was actually kind of surprised at the time to learn, well, it's not really about the numbers. It's more about the law.
Oh,
Yeah.
double whammy there, right?
That's me cold. Like, you know what? There are people who are better at this than I am and they want to do it. So more power to them.
Oh my gosh. But organization, so much fun. I have this one side of me that thinks it would be so fun to get into people's spaces and get it organized and orderly. And then other that's like, oh, that could get really overwhelming. So what is it that you found to be the most interesting or fun part of organization?
I like various parts of it. Yes, I absolutely positively love leaving a space better than I found it. And for anyone listening, yes, I am a residential organizer. I'm a certified professional organizer in chronic disorganization, which means that my clients have brain-based challenges most of the time that affect their ability to organize. And yes, leaving the space nice is very, very fulfilling. Making the client feel happy and loved and supported and just seen and heard, that I would have to say is equally as wonderful as seeing the transformed space.
Oh my gosh, I love hearing that coming out of you directly because to many of us, we think organization. Yeah, yeah. We don't think about, the impact on our mental well-being really when things are disorganized. I can't stand clutter. If you could see my desk right now, you would be wanting to come over here right now and organize it. It's turned into the drop zone. But I know that for me, it's so distracting. I'm like, it's distracting, it's stressful. It gets to a point sometimes where there's just so much I can't do anything else except stop what I'm doing and move it around. And thank God it's a small enough space. But I can only imagine, for people who have different ways of being in this earth, right? Different ways of thinking and processing, how much harder that can be. So I love that you come in that way and look at the human aspect of it.
Thank you. It definitely, sometimes I do have to remind myself it's not about the stuff, it's about the person. Because sometimes there's a lot of resilience. Excuse me, there is resilience, but there's resistance, and that can be a little challenging. But ultimately, when a client is willing to make a little bit of a change, even if it's small, the results are exponential.
That's amazing. So when you say chronic disorganization, what does that mean exactly?
Well, I have my training, most of it, from the Institute for Challenging Disorganization. And there is a definition of chronic disorganization, which is someone has been living with disorganization most of their lives. Disorganization and clutter negatively impact their lives on a daily basis. They have tried every self help attempt out there with very little success, and they anticipate being disorganized in the future without some kind of outside intervention.
Okay. Very interesting. When you step into the home of someone who is considered chronic, has that chronic disorganization situation going on, is it kind of like we see on TV, like on Hoarders, where there's just stuff everywhere? Is it smaller sections or smaller areas? Like, what is it that, what's that level? What does that feel like?
Well, I'm glad you asked that. And I'm glad you used the word level because through the ICD, we have what's known as the clutter dash hoarding scale. So, clutter and hoarding are not necessarily the same. Hoarding is its own diagnosis in the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Health Disorders. But yes, it could be any of the above. It could be very cluttered in one corner. It could be an entire house that is hoarded. And on the clutter hoarding scale, we have 5 levels, one being like no clutter whatsoever, and five being what I would say is more like the Collier brothers, where they had a car in their very cluttered apartment long ago and they didn't even know about it. So there, it's 1 to 5, and I personally am allowed to, with quotes, come up to about a level 3.
Okay. So, can you describe a level three so we can get just that visual of what that feels like?
A level 3 could be, say, piles up to, I want to say maybe my elbow up to my shoulder, perhaps, and I'm 5 feet tall, so the piles could be pretty high. There are potentially blocked ingress and egress. You might not be able to open the door or open a window or get to a window. Some rooms might not be usable for their intended function, such as stuff being um, put into a bathroom or stored in a bathroom so that you can't use the shower, the bathtub. Sometimes the toilet doesn't work. Sometimes the kitchen doesn't work in any way, shape, or form. There might be structural challenges in the home. It can get pretty dire.
Yeah, I can only imagine. So, I think about me stepping into that zone, I would be instantly overwhelmed. What is the first step you take to start getting things organized and back on track?
Well, for a very, very cluttered home like that, it's a challenge. Um, I would like to say in a situation like that, it is my desire to talk with the client first, and that is my approach no matter the level of clutter or hoarding or disorganization, not necessarily just hoarding. But I want to hear from the client, like, okay, so what situation are we facing? What would you like it to be like? How long do you have? How quickly would you like it to happen? Are you ready for change? Just lots of questions as to like what's at the core of the reason you're calling us in.
Got it. And when they call you in, is it generally the person has hit a point where they're calling for help, or is there somebody usually calling on their behalf? What does that look like? Because I got to imagine, as I think about the things that I'm attached to, it could be really hard to let some of those things go. So, who kind of calls you in and gets you involved?
That's an excellent question. I would want to evaluate over my last few years where most have come from, but I would say it's probably evenly distributed between the client themselves calling, and it might be a family member, it might be an outside agency. Um, so it's boy, oh boy, yeah, maybe maybe 3/4 of the time it's the client,
Okay,
and 1/4 of the time it might be not the client.
got it. That's so interesting. And I'm kind of visualizing. That's why I'm hesitating a little bit because I'm thinking about, the situation and how it gets to that point and then how it feels to come back out of that. Can you tell us maybe a story of a situation where you were called in and you helped in this kind of a chronic disorganization situation? Really, what was going on, and then what was the impact of the work that you did?
Okay, so let's think of a really good success story. There have been a few, and sometimes maybe there isn't a success story to it. Sometimes a client will call and work with us for a little while and then say, "I just can't do this." So, we might get to like session 3 and they say, "Oh my God, everything is now hitting the fan and this is real." So sometimes they will kind of check out. But someone who has the fortitude to continue can really see that success. And the person I'd like to highlight is a woman with ADHD who had a wonderful corporate career. She was incredibly successful and she retired. She also got divorced. So there were a couple of transitions happening. And I believe they might have been concurrent. So that's a lot of change at one
That's a lot.
time.
Yeah,
And she had reached out to say, I just need to get my life in order. So having that insight and the fortitude to want to make that change is huge. Um, we started working together maybe a year and a half ago. Excuse me. And over a regular and consistent schedule of sessions, we have decluttered her whole apartment. It's a 2-bedroom apartment. And we have started to implement systems that she can follow that are very easy for her because even though she might be on meds, excuse me, to mitigate her ADHD, which for her it could be she has probably a bit of the hyperactive and inattentive, so she's got combined type. So the ongoing support, I think, has been the key to her success. So it's the consistency and the what I call the life raft or the bridge between where she was and where she wants to be to keep her on that track. And she's doing great now.
I love that. And that's something that is so important to highlight with the work that you do. I know other professional organizers, and they truly are organizers. They come in, they look at the garage, they get things in bins, they get things taken out that don't need to be kept, that type of thing. In your case and your situation with your business, you're really there as a guide for people who need help with some lifestyle changes, who need help with understanding the importance of getting things organized so they can thrive better. And you show up as a partner to really guide them through that process so they're not feeling so alone and unstable. I love
Yes.
that.
It's the big why. She wants to date again. Like, okay, so let's clean up your apartment and keep it nice so you can have somebody come over.
That is a thing, right? There's only so many places to stash things in a two-bedroom apartment, especially. Oh my gosh.
Yes.
Yeah, and what an impact and a gift to her that you're able to come in and help her with that. Can you imagine what her life would be like without that support and without that help getting organized and getting things moving in that right direction? I mean, I can't imagine. Well, I guess that leads me maybe to my next question is how that state of disorganization can affect your health in general. What are your thoughts on that?
Oh, I have lots of thoughts. And the first that came to mind as you were saying this was loneliness.
Yeah.
Because if her daughter is grown and out doing her own thing and she doesn't have a partner right now, she does have a cat, but there's only so much a cat can do. Excuse me. That the loneliness is literally a real killer. And she's a young woman.
Yeah.
So she has many, many years ahead of her to enjoy, hopefully in a healthful way. Um, and so the loneliness can lead to depression, and the depression can lead to a lack of self care. So the self care might show up as not exercising or eating well or socializing with other people or sleeping well, which is honestly with my clientele, many of these are often present all at the same time. Um, so it can be a little challenging to sort of play whack-a-mole with what do we fix first.
Yeah, I can imagine. And then how do you support them to make sure that they build those great habits and then maintain them after you leave?
It's my belief that the ongoing consistent support is the key to success.
Mm.
So for someone who says, I'm good, I don't need any more help, I'm like, okay, I'm still going to check on you in a few weeks
Right.
because I know what's going to happen. um, and I have another lady I'm she has re-entered my life after several years, and I'm very, very grateful because it's something of a similar situation in that she lives alone, she has a cat, she works, she's 70, and her health is at risk because she doesn't have anybody else around. So sometimes the organizer can be a bit of a lifeline, um, just to be another presence in a person's life. Forgive me, I just went off on a tangent.
No, I love it because it's true. And like I said, sometimes we think of things on such a small scale, we don't look at the bigger impact. And I love what you're doing because there is such an impact. So tangents are welcome.
Thank you.
But I love that. And so she reached back out. Now, interesting because was were things starting to get to that state of disorganization again? Was that kind of was there a struggle again or was it more about the social impact for her?
Um, so she reached out recently, or reached out to say, I have to go buy a car and there's nobody else to come with me. Would you be willing to come with me just to accompany me to the dealership? And I thought, how incredibly flattering that she thought of me. Like, oh my gosh, like just having an impact in someone's life. And even like 7 years later to say, could you please come help me was like, wow. And then more recently, and I'm glad I don't have to give names because like a week or so, no, excuse me, 2 weeks later or so, she's like, I'm at the urgent care and they want to take me to the emergency room because I have a urinary tract infection. And so it turns out that I sat in the dealership with her and then I sat in the emergency room with her. And it was then again also flattering, like to know, like, okay, I fit, like I'm the puzzle piece that fits her need. Um, and it's so wonderfully fulfilling to think that whatever skills I have can benefit her.
Yeah. It's I'll tell you, Gail, I think that this is probably why we connected so well when we first met. I mean, just the feeling of I know right there hurts for sure. Just that feeling of making such a difference. And it's funny, I left corporate. I shared that story. I left after many years and started my own thing. And people thought I was crazy. They're like, what are you doing? You make great money. You've been so successful. You've done. I'm like, I don't want to go make multiple millions of dollars for a multi-billion-dollar company anymore. I love my people. I do. But what I love is helping my people see the best in themselves so that they can have the lives they deserve. Like, that's what I love. And break it down even more. I want women to do this. We need support. We need to be supporting our sisters. And it's so interesting. I kind of like you, randomly end up becoming a friend to a lot of my clients who just meet me, in different spaces. And I had one, I did a trip to New York. I was speaking out there a couple years ago, and she lived in New Jersey, just across the bridge. She said, "Oh, you're coming? Let me pick you up. I'm going to take you around." And somebody else I was talking to, they're like, "Are you crazy? You've never met her in person?" I'm like, literally, we are clients. I know her deepest, darkest career secrets. Like we are, we are sisters now, and had the best time. And she still reaches out when she's got something going on with her job. And I feel like that's how we continue to thrive on this earth, like supporting each other, helping other women be stronger, helping someone who doesn't have that lifeline that you've become for her that's so rewarding. Oh my
Truly.
gosh. And
And
people think organization. I'm like, it's so much bigger. Oh my gosh, the lives.
huge. Yeah, it's never about the stuff.
It's not. Oh my gosh, Gail. Wow. Give me chills. It's so good.
Thank you.
Well, tell me a little bit if we have a client who wants to get a little bit of help, maybe they're starting to feel that, wow, this disorganization situation is getting a little out of hand, or, what is the best way for them to reach out to you and get some support and learn more about what you do?
The best way is to visit my website. The company is Let's Get Organized, and the website is lgorganized.com. So I highly recommend that someone familiarize themselves first with what an organizer can do and what I can do personally. I can consult virtually. I'm a certified virtual organizing professional as well. So literally, support is available. It's just a matter of sometimes picking up the phone or sending a text or an email.
Yeah, we'll make sure all of your links are in the show notes because that's very important for our guests to be able to find you. I think sometimes there might be a little bit of shame, right? A little bit of, couldn't figure this out myself. I feel embarrassed to reach out. What would you tell somebody who's holding back because of that sense of, oh, this is so embarrassing, especially as overachieving women? We don't want people to know our dirty laundry kind of secret stuff.
Oh my gosh, so true. What I would say is yes, there is shame, and I understand, and I'm I empathize and I understand. Like I can't think of the word, but there's compassion, and so I'll just speak right to the person who might say, "Oh gosh, I'm so ashamed." You are not alone. There are many, many people out there who are living a similar experience. It is okay. You are normal. You are wonderful. You have strengths and talents and abilities that other people don't. We want to plumb into those, pull them out, utilize them, let you see that you're a beautiful person and you are not defined by your stuff or your ability to organize or not.
That's perfect. I can't even reiterate that. That was so good. And that's the thing, right? Is sometimes we feel we're so stuck because of, oh my gosh, what if somebody says something? What if I'm so embarrassed? Or what's that person going to think? And I love that. I mean, the reminder that you're worth more. You're worth the help and support that you need. And it's okay. There's somebody waiting to help you, no matter what that is. If it's organization, you got Gail right here. So we'll make sure that, again, that the contact information for you is in our show notes. And I love that you can do this virtually too. I think when it comes back to the mindset and the emotional piece of it, it's just so important to have someone who's there, not just to help clear the clutter, but to help clear the mindset and help that confidence come back. And that's so great. Oh my gosh. So, Gail, what kind of or what additional advice, inspiration, or parting words do you have to share with our audience today?
Let's see. Well, definitely reach out for help. That's certainly a number one. And if someone is thinking, oh my gosh, I know what I have to do, I just don't know where to start, I will say it doesn't really matter where you start as long as you start.
I love it. I use those words often myself. One little baby step is all it takes to get you moving in the right direction. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for joining us today on the Gen X Remix, Gayle. It has been so fun catching up. And I hope people are going to watch this on YouTube so they can see those fabulous glasses. I
Thank
love
you.
it.
They're fun. They keep me smiling.
They kept me smiling the whole time.
Oh, good. Thank you.
Oh my gosh. Thank you. Well, I hope you enjoyed this conversation as much as I did. Gayle is always such a fun and inspiring person to talk to. If you've been feeling stuck, overwhelmed, or just plain exhausted by the clutter around you, this episode was your sign to take action. As Gayle reminded us, it's not about the stuff, it's about you. Your space should work for you and not against you. If you're ready to clear the clutter and take back control, be sure to connect with Gayle. We'll include all of her information in the show notes. And remember, she offers both in-person and virtual support. So no matter where you are, you don't have to go it alone. Now, if today's episode sparked something inside you, be sure to share it with a friend who might need a little organizational inspiration, or who might be thinking, oh, I'd really like to make that corporate escape, but you know she's not taking action. Make sure you also hit the subscribe button and leave a 5-star review so even more amazing women like you can find us. And one last thing, don't forget to visit corporateescapesherpa.com to grab your free guide. All the links will be in the show notes to keep it easy for you. Until next time, go take that one first small step toward whatever it is that you want to achieve. You've got this. We'll see you next time.